anyone to earn your trust.
If you have a drain that's slow or clogged, call Day and Night. Now you'll save $50 off any drain cleaning. Slow or clogged drains? You know where to go.
dayandnight.net.
G and Ursula agree to disagree.
If there is a fire, a house is burning down, we don't ask, hey, but who did you vote for?
Yeah.
No, we help a neighbor.
Weekday mornings at 11:06 on KIRO News Radio.
Are you putting off your new kitchen plans? Why wait? Hi, I'm Chad Cicchini, owner of Heritage Homecraft, and we've got an offer you're not going to want to wait for. We'll custom build you all new cabinet doors and drawer fronts, and using our exclusive 1/4-inch solid wood refacing process, transform your existing cabinets into a beautiful new kitchen. Add a custom quartz countertop, change things up a bit, add some more cabinets, install some cool new features like soft close drawers and sliding shelves. Whatever you like, we'll help you create the new kitchen you'll be proud of. All in about a week, and all with way less mess, hassle, and expense than a tear-out. Stop waiting. We're having a trade-in sale. You'll save $30 per door and drawer front off the cost of your new kitchen. Count them up and see how much you'll save. Years of experience, thousands of happy customers. Call today and let one of our pros come out and show you how easy and comfortable it'll be to get going on your new kitchen. Heritage Homecraft, 425-485-1600, 425-485-1600, or heritagehomecraft.com.
With everything going on these days, it's more important than ever to buy your new car from a dealership you trust. For me, that's Carter Subaru. This is Ursula Royteen. At Carter Subaru, your drive begins with savings. Now get the 2025 Crosstrek with 3.9% APR for 48 months. Shop with the Carter Subaru Advantage and enjoy valet parking at their Ballard dealership and at-home delivery across all locations.
On approved credit, subject to vehicle insurance and availability. A documentary service fee may be added to the sale price or capitalized cost. See dealer for details. Valid through 4/30/25.
I've always been an athletic guy, but after turning 40, I noticed I was slowing down. I booked a free testosterone check with Revive Health and learned that low T doesn't just impact my performance in the bedroom. I've been following a custom treatment plan ever since, and today I'm feeling stronger and more confident than ever.
If you're ready to book your free T-check, text BOOST to 65555 or visit ReviveMensHealth.com to schedule your appointment. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies. Text help for help. Text stop to cancel. See privacy policy at ReviveMensHealth.com/privacy policy. For info on how opt-in info will be used and terms and conditions at ReviveMensHealth.com/terms of use for terms of short code service.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Linda Kenyon. A shooting at Florida State University has killed 2 people and injured at least 5 more. Walt McNeil is the Leon County Sheriff.
This event is tragic in more ways than you people in the audience could ever fathom.
The suspect, believed to be a student at FSU, is in custody and hospitalized. He's also the son of a Leon County Sheriff's deputy, and one of her service revolvers was found at the scene. Michael Price's daughter is a student at FSU.
We can't be a country that love our children and the citizens and continue to have the kind of gun policies we do. And I know everyone's going to say, no, don't rush to gun policy. Maybe some mental issues here or something, but we got to do something about that.
President Trump defended gun rights.
I'm a big advocate of the Second Amendment. I have been from the beginning. I protected it. And these things are terrible. But the gun doesn't do the shooting. The people do.
The U.S. Supreme Court has agreed to hear arguments over the president's executive order to end birthright citizenship. Loyola Law School professor Lori Levinson.
The Supreme Court wants to resolve this so you don't have continuing cases in courts throughout the land, because that is what's likely to happen if the court doesn't finally decide it.
The president's executive order says children born to parents who are in this country illegally cannot be considered U.S. citizens. President Trump says he's in no rush to breach any trade deals because of the revenues his tariffs are generating so far. But during a meeting with Italy's prime minister at the White House today, he also said he sees no issues in coming up with a fair deal with the European Union.
We're going to have very little problem making a deal with Europe or anybody else because we have something that everybody wants. You know what that means, right? We have something that everybody wants. We're going to have very little problem.
The president's trade tariffs have sent economic shockwaves across the globe, with the European Central Bank deciding to cut interest rates. CBS's Vicki Barker reports.
ECB President Christine Lagarde using the words uncertainty and incredulity to describe America's massive shift in trade policy and allies' attempts to absorb it. Asked if we've passed peak uncertainty.
I don't know whether we are at peak.
Suggesting policymakers worldwide now have to be nimble in responding to the latest financial shocks from Washington. Vicki Barker, CBS News, London.
Protests have been growing on the Harvard campus. The protests followed the Trump administration's demands related to activism on campus. This is CBS News.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get the parts and service you need fast from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Coming up, sentencing day for a former basketball coach turned convicted child predator. We'll get that after Nate Connors at the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk.
Thank you, Aaron. Home Comfort Alliance has this update. Everett to Marysville's at 20 minutes right now. You're jammed up between the Snohomish River and State Route 529. Now getting to Everett from Seattle, already a 1-hour commute. You're bumper to bumper from Mercer up to Lake City Way. You're going to clear in Northgate and then crowded from Shoreline all the way through Linwood, where we have a disabled vehicle blocking the HOV lane right there at the 405 interchange. Bellevue to Everett, 50 minutes. You're filling in through Kirkland and Totem Lake, and then again in Alderwood. Coming the other way, Everett to Seattle, just 35 minutes. A little crowding in Linwood, and then it jams up at Lake City Way in the downtown, partly due to this new stall just reported on the Ship Canal Bridge, taking up your left lane. Our lake bridges look great. Seattle to Federal Way is a 40-minute commute. Renton to Puyallup on 167, 45 minutes. And Tacoma down to Olympia is going to take you 50 minutes. Upgrade now with incredible savings on ultra-efficient heat pumps. Get up to $6,000 in rebates, plus save 10% on heat pumps through April. Call Home Comfort Alliance or visit homecomfortalliance.com. KIRO News Radio Real-Time Traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. 40 years behind bars for a former Sumner High School basketball coach. Judge sentenced Jacob Jackson today for sexually abusing 8 players, the youngest just 14. KIRO 7 TV was in court when one of his victims said Jackson stole his youth.
My innocence, my sense of security, and my ability to simply exist as a teenager without fear or shame.
Jackson coached between 2016 and 2022. A 24-year-old woman, 19-year-old man, and a juvenile now facing hate crime charges in Seattle.
Prosecutors allege it was back in February when the suspects harassed and shot paintball guns at patrons of the Pony Bar on Capitol Hill. Police say the 3 circled the bar in a car at least 10 times and yelled anti-gay, anti-transgender slurs. The adults pleaded not guilty. The juvenile will be in court next week. James Lynch, KIRO News Radio.
Washington taps new rules for beer gardens. KIRO News Radio's Matt Markovich says the bill sets the stage for next year's World Cup.
Traditionally, if you want to sip a beer at a public event, you're stuck in a fenced-off area, the classic beer garden. But under this new law that's basically going to become law, those fences are going to come down. Cities and counties can work with the state liquor and cannabis board to create larger shared alcohol areas during events.
That means festivals at Seattle Center, for instance, would not need fenced-in beer gardens, but the law is set to expire after the World Cup games in Seattle are over. Late-game heroics give the Mariners another series win, down 2 runs to the Cincinnati Reds in the 9th. The Big Dumper started the comeback with his 6th home run in 6 games.
Cal Raleigh way back into the bleachers in right.
Ems would then tie it up with the very next batter, Randy Arozarena.
For Randy, his 4th home run of the season, Cal number 8. And how about that for a quick comeback here in the top half of the 9th?
And they would go on to win it in the 10th inning. Final score 11-7. Weather now brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Sunny skies for today and again tomorrow ahead of a bit of a cooler weekend with just some scattered showers Saturday and Sunday. Right now, 64 degrees in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news, serving Western Washington and the world with a KIRO News Radio app. Always streaming live on your smart speakers. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
Just what is it that you want to do?
We want to be free to ride our machines without being hassled by the man. And we want to get loaded.
Riding our machines. Yeah, when you get loaded. That was Aaron during the commercial break yelled that out.
That's right.
So it was you. Then just like, here we go with the John Curley Show. Hey, everybody. By the way, for some reason, I came up with this idea a while ago that, hey, why don't leave the cameras up during commercial breaks? Now, apparently, all the other hosts hate that idea. You hate it as well?
Everybody but I think Jake Skorheim really enjoys it.
Well,
he has a good time with the audience during the commercial breaks.
I didn't think anybody in management would take me up on the offer.
I don't like them.
All right, well, then write that down. Put you under the screw you category.
That's
Dive it in under! All right?
All right.
During the next break, I will attempt to eat 2 Wilcox Friendly Farm eggs, cage-free eggs at the same time.
Oh, nice.
During the commercial break.
Yes.
Still, in the meantime, I'm going to put William Kirk, who I know is WK, WashingtonGunLaw.com. I'm going to put a big goose egg for you in the loss column for this one, Kirk. You're going down in Washington State, my friend. You've lost this one because I'm making a prediction here that if you want to buy a gun in the state of Washington, this thing's going to pass, and you're going to have to jump through a whole bunch of hoops and get a permit. Then you got to sign up, and you're going to have to go get tested, and then you're going to have to go back again. This would be like in the First Amendment rights, you'd have to go get a permit to buy a printing press. But here we go. In the state of Washington, you got to feel as if you've lost the momentum on this one. Will you give me that, Mr. Kirk?
Well, I never felt as though we had any momentum on this. It's the state of Washington, after all. We saw this one coming from a mile away. They tried it last year, got watered down. It didn't get watered down this year. So, no, it's a reality, and everyone's been kind of expecting this for a while. Thanks for having me on, by the way.
Yep. Every time we have you on, you're kind of like a beaten dog. You just keep coming back again. You're still fighting the fight.
I know. I'm the bearer of bad news. A lot of bad news when we're talking about Washington firearms laws. I recognize that.
Yeah. This is what they're pointing to is the permitting process. Walk everybody through what they want a gun buyer to do in the state of Washington.
Yeah, so when you said earlier that you need a permission slip to exercise a right, that's not an incorrect statement. So an individual who had the audacity to want to access their Second Amendment rights will need to go through mandatory training, including live fire training, which creates all sorts of issues, as I'm not sure how a person could do live fire training if they don't have possession of a firearm to begin with. But if you do jump through all of those hoops, government will bestow upon you then a permission slip that will then allow you to go to a gun store so that you can purchase a firearm. Now, you will have already gone through a background check to get the permission slip, and then you will go to the gun store to go through the exact same background check before you can take possession of that firearm as well.
Here's the other question. There were 495,000 guns in 2023 purchased in the state of Washington. So I don't know how many live firing round facilities there are. The cost to begin this is going to be about $14 million. That's what they say. And then it's going to go up to $21 million in order to have this thing in effect. And what will the test be? You're going to have to try to, hit something from 40 yards out. We don't know what.
We don't know.
We don't know. And they could make it hard enough. It's like, whoop, too bad. Looks like you weren't able to hit that thing with the, throw something in the air and try to shoot it out of the air. Sorry, you didn't pass the test. We don't know any of that, do we?
We have no idea. Will the standards be the same as what it requires law enforcement officers to qualify to carry a firearm? Will it be more stringent, less stringent? I don't know. What's the educational component? What's the cost of all of this?
Yeah,
I think that's a big deal because, there were several amendments that were attempted by Republican senators as the bill was coming out of the Senate. And it was, to waive these fees for indigent people or even people as they listed as in marginalized communities. And the Democrats were having nothing of it. So there's a financial barrier to an access to a right as well, which even if it starts from an innocuous nature, it only takes a few years of fee adjustment before it's cost prohibitive to a large majority of the state.
Ultimately, they don't want. And here's what they do. They point to, I think one of the guys, did you find the sound on that guy, Joe? No. They look at other states. Well, look when Connecticut did this. This was amazing in Connecticut. So I went to a guy that looks at all these gun studies. His name is Aaron Brown, and I found him on Reason.com. So he was talking. So here we have our legislators and our folks that are anti-self-defense. And they think, oh, look at Connecticut did. Connecticut did this, and look how great it was. So Aaron Brown decided to look into the Connecticut. Here's what he found, William.
Hundreds of studies have been done comparing gun homicide rates before and after states changed their gun control laws. One prominent study made the astounding claim that a permit requirement for handgun purchases in Connecticut reduced their gun murder rate by 40%.
It's common sense. You should need a license to buy and own a firearm. In states like Connecticut that did that, they saw 40% drops in gun violence.
It is true that Connecticut's gun murder rate fell rapidly after that law was passed in 1995, but so did gun murder rates throughout the country.
Oh.
In order to form a conclusion about the effect of the Connecticut law, you would want to compare Connecticut to something as similar as possible that did not make the change.
So here's what they did, William. They decided they're going to make it sort of a conglomeration of what Connecticut would have been. I mean, listen to this.
But the authors do not compare Connecticut to itself in prior years, nor to all other states. Their 40% claim is the actual murder rate in Connecticut compared to something they call a synthetic Connecticut that they constructed for the purpose of their study. A combination of mostly Rhode Island, but also Maryland, California, Nevada, and New Hampshire.
The paper claims to show a 40% decline in gun murders in Connecticut as compared to synthetic Connecticut, but Brown says this entire effect is due to the fact that Rhode Island experienced about 20 extra murders between 1999 and 2003, and synthetic Connecticut was more than 72% Rhode Island.
Even comparing to synthetic Connecticut, the decline the authors found didn't last. Although the law remained on the books, by 2006, the gun murder rate in Connecticut had surpassed synthetic Connecticut, and continued to increase to the point where it was 46% higher.
Right. So here we have our legislators standing up there saying, if we pass this, just like Connecticut, we'll see our homicide rate drop by 40%. Did they bother to read the second page that shows how flawed the study was? No. And everybody feels good about it, wrapping themselves up in this, oh, look at Connecticut. If they pass this thing and look how well it's doing there, then it's going to have the exact same effect here. But there's no data, no metrics to point to this will save lives.
They're absolutely not. And one of the biggest lies they perpetuate is to say that firearms are the number one cause of death for young people. But that's only if you include 19 and 20-year-olds in the equation as well, 18, 19, and 20-year-olds. So when they say that it's the number one leading cause of death of children, that's actually statistically incorrect. You know, I had a professor at Washington State University at the end of a statistics class tell me that the only thing that statistics had ever accurately proven was that women had more babies than men. And
I don't know if that's still true.
I guess that's subject to debate in today's day.
That's our next segment, by the way.
Back in the late 80s at WSU. But no, John, you spot this. They say they're going to save lives with all of these laws. Illinois and California have some of the most restrictive laws in the nation, yet they have some of the highest firearm homicide rates because these laws have never been about saving lives.
Okay, so what's going to happen now, William Kirk there at WashingtonGunLaw.com? I assume this is going to get challenged in court. I assume possibly it goes to before the Supreme Court because we're interfering with my right to buy a gun.
Yeah, specifically, this law has one amendment to it, which does not make it effective now until May 1st of 2027. And I don't know if you would have standing to make the legal challenge until the law becomes effective. However, very similar licensing laws are popping up in other civilian disarmament states around the country. And so this is going to be kind of a new battlefront that you're going to see in the appellate courts. And yes, this is an issue that the United States Supreme Court at some point is eventually going to need to weigh in on.
Okay. And in the meantime, we'll see gun sales skyrocket in the state of Washington, right?
We all know who the best gun salesmen are. Year in and year out, we all know who it is. It's the Democratic politicians.
Right. Barack Obama was a great gun salesman. So was Joe Biden, was also another good, Jay Inslee.
Fantastic.
When I went to Ellensburg, Bill, I went and walked into the store in Ellensburg there, and I said, I need a blank Inslee gun. And they said, they took me right over. They go, there they all are. These are when they're.
Were you at Kittitas County Trading?
Yes.
Yeah. I know the people over there, and yes, they would have had one of those blank Hugh Inslee guns sitting there.
And a whole wall of them, right? And
they had a whole section of that.
They took me right there. And I said, and I had my son with me. I said, now, what they want to do, because I was buying an AR, I said, because these guns are scary, right? These are scary guns. So I said, Rye, pick out the scariest gun. So Rye standing there goes, I don't know, that one down the end looks pretty scary. It's a Zig 4, whatever it was. The scary thing was when the guy there said, okay, you need optics for it. And then they strapped the $980 optic thing on there. I was like, what am I shooting out of the sky with this thing? Anyway, so it was $2,700. I walked out of there with my receipt, went back later on, got the gun once I went through all the background checks and everything. So I've got it. But I bought it as a protest. I didn't. Do I need that thing? No. Is it fun? Sure, because I know they banned the 30 mags, but for some reason I was able to find some somewhere. So I've got that. But again, it was a protest. I think some people buy it because they're told they can't have it. And this, ultimately, the folks on the left, assuming they're coming from a good place, just assume everybody wants the best for everybody or everybody has some good intention. Is their intention just if we could get rid of the guns, we could get rid of the homicides? Is that where they come from, Bill?
I think it goes beyond that. I think it's if we could get rid of the guns, we can get rid of the concept of liberty, and then everyone becomes subservient to big government.
Really? So no, Bill. Really?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Because you kind of look, but that thread that is a common thread through a lot of positions that they take. Are there some people in the gun control community who honestly believe that if we could take all the guns, it would solve all the problems? Yeah, there's some that absolutely think that way. But no, I think many of them, especially those that are in elected positions, they see it as an opportunity to monopolize more and more power.
Well, listen, I think you're giving some of them too much credit. I think some of them are just sort of mouthpieces for, I know because my father had a problem and he had a gun, this sort of stuff. But you really believe the folks that are like further up, those that are pushing, they've got all the money, they're pushing all this stuff, that what they really want to do is disarm the American citizen so that the American citizen is more compliant to the government? You really believe that's part of the philosophy?
Gun control is not about the guns, it's about the control.
What country do you point to show evidence of this?
Well, I think you could go back in history and take a look at what's happened to any populace that was ever disarmed. It didn't work out particularly well for them. And there's even 20th century examples of that, but you can go back in history. One of the very first things that a tyrannical dictatorship will do would be disarm the populace. The
first thing they do is they take control of the press.
The second thing they do is disarm the populace, and the third thing they do is kill all the lawyers. So I'm abundantly aware of that.
And if that is the case, then what happens? Let's just do worst case scenario. They disarm the folks of Washington, right? And then other states follow as well. And then what happens that then
so the biggest Armageddon scenario is you have a shift in political winds such that the United States Supreme Court shifts and they really write a majority opinion that is very similar to what the minority opinion was in Heller, where they say that there is no individual right to keep and bear arms. It's a conditioned precedent based upon you being part of a militia, which is why you've seen a lot of states pass these anti-militia laws.
Yes.
So that at that time, with that kind of a ruling, they could sit there and say no individual has a right to keep and bear arms. And then you will see states go for outright disarmament. And then it would require the federal government to actually do it at a nationwide level, because clearly you would have some states of political nature that would never dream of doing such a thing.
Okay, then when somebody catches you at a cocktail party and they say to you, hey, Kirk, well, how about Australia? Look what they did. After there was that shooting, the mass shooting, they went around, people turned all the guns in. Look at the homicide rate in Australia. Why can't I
look at the homicide rate by firearm, just like in England, right? Look at the homicide rate by firearms. Has that gone down? Sure. Has the homicide rate gone on? I mean, pick up a paper. They're stabbing each other left and right in England all the time. Bad people are going to do bad things no matter what. You take one instrument from them, they'll continue to do bad things.
Well, Cain resorted to the rock.
Yeah.
So,
but take a look at how we deal with drunk driving in this state, John. When a person goes out and gets completely annihilated and gets out on the roadway and then slaughters a family, everyone's screaming to throw that person in prison. I get it. I had to deal with cases like that in my career, but nobody ever talks about banning the car. Nobody ever talks about banning the booze. Yet when someone goes and does something with a firearm, it's suddenly we've got to talk about banning the firearms. And yet we know that 9 out of 10 gun crimes committed in the United States are committed by who? People who are unlawfully possessing a firearm at the time that the crime is committed.
Right. It's because criminals tend to disobey and don't seem to have much respect for the law. And
it's weird, but yeah, they're consistent about that.
Yeah, because I thought they could just pass a big umbrella law, which is don't use a gun to shoot and kill somebody.
Yeah, I don't know if you had like homicide laws on your books or something like that. That would be helpful. Kind of like gun-free zone signs. Those are really effective, I think.
William Kirk, I got to tell you, I've had the pleasure of talking to you many times. You look like a beaten man today. You really do. You do. Doesn't he, Joe?
For everyone on the radio, they're going to call me and be like, dang, how bad did you look?
No, it's not you look bad. Not physically bad. You always look good with a nice sport coat. I don't know if you got shorts on or something.
I told you,
but
stop
just the
insulting
energy.
our
No,
guests'
I'm not insulting him. No, it's not an insult. It's the energy because he normally has the vim and vigor, right?
Yes, you do seem a little tired.
But it's like, I think what's happened to you, you realize this one's going to go. That this one's going to go, right? They're going to get you on this one, aren't they, Bill?
Yes, they're going to get all of us.
Couldn't Bob save the day on this one? Couldn't Bob save the day?
No one can save the day. Oh, could Bob Ferguson save the day?
Yeah, Bob could save the day, but have you ever seen a piece of gun control legislation that Bob Ferguson didn't absolutely adore? So he'll sign this.
God. All right. Well, the good news is, Mr. Kirk, that this thing doesn't go into place until 2027, possibly.
May 1st, 2027. So stock up now, get your house on the market, check out Redfin, do whatever you got to do.
Gee whiz. Wow. Sheesh. It's going to the red pill. All right, Mr. William Kirk from WashingtonGunLaw.com. Thank you, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
All right, hang in there. Okay, let's go to Nate over there in the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk. Nathan.
Thanks, John. Lake Washington Windows and Doors. Seattle to Everett already 20-minute delay, taking you an hour and 15 minutes because of an earlier blocking issue at the Linwood interchange. We just cleared that out of your way, but it left you with a backup all the way from downtown Seattle. Bellevue to Everett up to hour 5 minutes. You're slow between 520 and 522. And again in Alderwood starting just past 527 there in Canyon Park. Everett to Seattle is up to 45 minutes, 35 just from Linwood. We cleared our stall from the Ship Canal Bridge, so that'll help alleviate some of this, but you've got to back up as you come out of Northgate into downtown. Bellevue to Renton's at 35 minutes, heavy volumes from 520 to the VMAC. Seattle to Federal Way is at 50 minutes, about a 10-minute delay. Through April, Lake Washington Windows is paying your sales tax, plus giving you 18 months to pay for them. For details, visit lakewashingtonwindows.com. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Hair loss is an experience that is different for everyone. For some folks, they say, well, I even look good bald. What do I care? But if you're like me and hair loss just starts to rob you of your identity, to this day, I remain surprised how easy the solution was with my friends there at Advanced Hair. And it's not just me. You see, Advanced Hair has helped tens of thousands of people, and they, again, are the winner of the 425 Business of the Year 2 times in a row. All right, so if you notice your hair's starting to thin, starting to get a little worried, and you think, oh boy, it's going a little bald in the back, your barber tells you, wow, you're thinning out back here. So now you got a plan. You ready? Let's fix it. With Advanced Hair, your own natural hair begins to regrow the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow. So you set up a free consultation, get $250 off, 250 free hair graft. You simply call 425-449-8185. That's 425-449-8185. And when you're there at Advanced Hair, check out the before and after pictures right there for you at Advanced Hair. That's advancedhair.com.
This hour brought to you by Home Comfort Alliance. Heating, air conditioning, plumbing, and electrical.
For decades, KIRO News Radio has been your go-to source for reliable news.
Traffic got worse in Seattle last year.
Seattle drivers squandered over $1,100 in lost time and productivity just sitting in traffic.
We're here to help guide you through the complexities of today's world, offering insights that allow you to see the bigger picture.
I want to dig into some of the numbers to just show you how much our transportation needs are being ignored and underfunded.
Trust KIRO News Radio to keep you informed and connected.
Your home is probably your biggest investment in your family's future, and giving your home the very best protection takes integrity. Hi, Spike O'Neill for Integrity Roofing and Construction. Local family-owned Integrity RC has been named Best Roofing and Construction Company year after year, and they're more than just a roofing company. Integrity offers fully integrated services for your entire home. They use only the best eco-friendly, sustainable products that last longer. No nonsense, complete transparency, and never any high-pressure sales. Integrity RC lives up to their name. Call today for a free estimate at 206-202-ROOF or visit integrityrc.com.
Announcing the Million Hour Volunteer Rally. G here, join me, Safeway and Albertsons, and donate your time and skills to support local food banks and host food drives or fundraisers. You can win free groceries for a year and a $5,000 donation to your favorite hunger relief agency. Visit albertsons.com/volunteer to learn more. Find volunteer opportunities and log your hours. 1 million hours will help create food secure communities. Visit albertsons.com/volunteer.
1-877-CARS for kids. KARS Cars for kids. 1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877-CARS for kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Start having fun. Caesar Sportsbook at Muckleshoot Casino Resort is your #1 place to eat, drink, watch, and have fun. Keep up with your favorite sports anywhere and everywhere on property with the mobile app. Visit muckleshootcasino.com today. Scan the QR code and let the play begin.
Muckleshoot.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is for you too. Stubborn fat is really hard to get rid of, and then there's all those gimmicky lasers, fat freezing methods, and prescriptions. Imagine a simple solution that takes just 1 day and provides immediate noticeable results. Introducing ProSculpt. ProSculpt uses air-assisted technology that's safe and gentle yet powerful, delivering instant fat-reducing and skin-tightening results. Performed by board-certified plastic surgeons while fully awake, ProSculpt contours your body with minimal downtime. It's designed to target those problem areas: waistline, neck, face, arms, thighs. ProSculpt gently removes unwanted fat and tightens loose skin with FDA-cleared plasma technology, all in a simple, guaranteed 1-day procedure. ProSculpt is one and done. Schedule your free consultation at prosculpt.com for $250 off. For powerful permanent fat removal and skin tightening that works for ladies and you men, it's prosculpt.com.
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
If you've been in an auto accident, you have the right to take your vehicle to any repair facility. Accurate Auto Body has been family owned and operated since 1994, and they work for you, not your insurance company. Your insurance company may not love them, but you will, because
We meet by accident, fixing every last bit, accurate auto body.
When the heat's an 11,
Cool AC would be heaven.
Dayandnight.net.
Beat the rush.
act now before summer.
Because that heat's a real bummer.
Dayandnight.net.
This is the time to plan ahead so you stay cool this summer. Hi, I'm Bruce with Day and Night Plumbing and Heating. Call us about installing a high-efficiency cooling system or servicing your existing one so you're cool when you need it.
Now save $50 off our pre-summer AC tune-up.
Dayandnight.net.
Announcing the newest, most beautiful senior living community around. It's the grand opening of Vineyard Park at North Creek Bothell, a Care Partners senior living community. Amanda here. Discover vibrant, independent, assisted living and memory care where seniors thrive with top-notch care, engaging activities, and a warm, welcoming environment. Visit carepartnersliving.com now to schedule a visit and be one of the first to call Vineyard Park at North Creek home. The grand opening of Vineyard Park at North Creek Bothell going on now. Visit carepartnersliving.com.
KIRO News Radio 97.3 FM Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. Students at Florida State University took cover today as one of their peers opened fire.
We got the desks and started piling them up against the door. It was pretty hectic.
Police say the 20-year-old shooter killed 2 people and injured 5 more. Leon County Sheriff Walter McNeil says the gunman is the son of one of his deputies and used his mother's service weapon.
And we will continue that investigation into how that weapon was used and what other weapons perhaps he may have had access to.
That suspect is in police custody. The 2 people he killed were not students. Lawsuit brought by Washington's Attorney General makes its way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Justices say they'll hear arguments over Nick Brown's lawsuit that challenges President Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship. Loyola Law School professor Lori Levinson.
So far, every court that has decided this issue has relied on the 14th Amendment to say that the executive order by President Trump saying that there's no birthright citizenship is wrong.
A federal judge in Seattle was the first to block the order, which remains on hold. The High Court will take up the case on May 15th. The Thurston County Sheriff's Office says it's buying more grapplers.
Radio County 1, good grapple, making commands. Great job.
The device is fitted onto the front bumper of patrol vehicles. It shoots a net that wraps around a car's tire, forcing it to stop. The Olympian reports Thurston County Commission approves the purchase of 2 more grappler units and 17 nets, a total cost of $20,000 there. We may have our clearest picture yet on when the NBA will consider bringing back the Sonics. Commissioner Adam Silver today says expansion talks will begin this summer, with Seattle and Las Vegas as the league's top destinations.
I look at the success of those markets for other major league teams now. So it's easy to present a scenario where you can see it working successfully for the league.
Silver was speaking to the Pat McAfee Show on ESPN. Let's go now to the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk at 3:33. Here's Nate Connors.
Hey, thanks, Aaron. This report brought to you by the Harnish Auto family. Seattle to Everett is still hovering at an hour and 20 minutes with a thick backup from downtown Seattle all the way to that Linwood interchange where we just recently cleared a stalled vehicle that had a lane blocked. Bellevue to Everett is up to an hour 15 now, solid from Kirkland into Alderwood. Again, this is caused by that earlier stalled vehicle. Everett to Seattle is a 45-minute drive. We cleared a stall from the Ship Canal Bridge about 15 minutes ago, but it left you with a pretty heavy backup now coming out of Northgate into downtown. Bellevue to Renton, 35 minutes, heavy between 520 and the VMAC, really thick through Bellevue. Seattle to Federal Way is going to take you 50 minutes, about a 10-minute delay here. Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeway is at 50 minutes as well. Over 40 years, the Harnish Auto family has built a stellar reputation on trust, respect, and great deals. Find your next car at harnishautofamily.com. Harnish Auto Family, people matter. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
Got pleasant temperatures across the map today under sunny skies. Your forecast is brought to you by State Roofing and Exteriors. Tomorrow, even warmer with highs in the low 70s. Right now, mid-60s across the map, 67 in Olympia, 64 in downtown Seattle. I'm Aaron Granillo, KIRO News Radio.
Your best source for local news. You're listening to KIRO News Radio, Northwest News.
All right, here we go with the John Curley Show. Some of you friends write me during the text, during the breaks. I don't want to say his name on the air. He's right there.
Oh, wow.
I won't say his name. We're leaving. Moving to Arizona, May 2nd. Between gun laws, tax laws. I guess this will be a very, very, very blue state because anyone with a little bit of independence or purplish color isn't going to be able to deal with it. So he's leaving. So there's another one out the door.
He's taking a lot of money with him, too, isn't he?
They're gone. Bye-bye.
So long. Bye-bye. All right. This is the I stand corrected, and Joe decided he would sort of just bring me in here blindfolded, having no idea what's coming. This could work out. It could be really embarrassing. Corrected. Yeah.
None of these required a ton of research.
Okay,
so
good.
I figured I'd
good.
just bounce.
Aaron's going to help out too.
Fernando in Seattle, friend of the show.
Yes.
This is based on the gun law we just talked about. He said, "I still don't understand why Republicans are so opposed to safety classes and knowing how to shoot a gun. John keeps saying they don't want us to have guns, but never explains why he is so opposed. When I went to boot camp, they taught us about gun safety, how to take care of our gun, and how to shoot the gun. John's anger about gun safety is baffling to me.
It's not. No, I'm not angry about gun safety. It's the lack of respect for the Second Amendment. That if the person goes in to buy a gun, if this guy has a gun, and I've purchased a gun before, the people that buy guns can sign up for classes if they'd like, right? They can learn to shoot the gun. I'm assuming if they buy the gun, they probably would like to learn how to operate the gun safely. And if you have ever been to a shooting range around here, you quickly learn that there are rules and there is no messing around with it. And if you get a gun and you have a friend that has a gun and they both respect the rules, then I don't see any problem. It's the idea that the state is coming in to enforce, because what they're starting with is we're going to reduce. We look at Connecticut. Connecticut's homicide rate went down when they put this in place. That's all crap. What they want to do is they think they can disarm you by creating enough problems for you to get the gun. They just don't want you to have the gun. And this is just one more way to impede you from being armed. I'm not angry about it. I just think their attempt is a bit of a canard. That's not really what they want, because they know who kills people with guns. They know the population. They know where it occurs. And you can pass every single law you want. And the people that kill people with guns obviously don't have much respect for the law. So sign up, get a gun, learn how to operate it safely, respect the gun. I've got no problem with it. But I have a problem when the state comes in to impede on your right to be able to own one. I don't know if that answers your question.
I think it does, and there's already a waiting period, right? You have to do a background check, and
it's about 5 days, right? Here's the weird thing: you go buy a shotgun right now, walk in, get a shotgun, walk out. That shotgun. You go to get a handgun, it's like 5 or 6 days. They call you back, they say, "Okay, handgun's ready." You come in, you get the handgun, right there. There you go, fine.
No cooling off period.
No, they just got to run through all the permitting process. Okay.
Elaine in Marysville.
Elaine, thank you, Elaine.
In regard to your recent story on sperm racing and the decline in sperm, you all need to research the effect of soy on sperm production.
Hold on 1 second.
Everything big always starts small.
Yo, listen, you hear that? Killers in the jungle.
This is the world's first ever sperm race. This is Asher from UCLA versus Tristan from US.
Of course they have names like that.
Asher and Tristan.
Yeah.
See, two legends.
Why are they legends? How are they legends? Legends in what?
Wait, somebody pointed out, we didn't get to it because we ran out of time yesterday.
By the way, this is legit. Yeah. They're doing this.
Oh, yeah. They're doing it. And it's for men's fertility health.
Yes.
Somebody pointed out, does anybody else find that it's ironic that one of the schools participating's mascot is
the Trojan?
Yeah.
On microscopic racetrack, the battle for whose sperm is the healthiest.
Who do you like in this, Asher or Tristan?
I like Asher.
Okay.
The fastest and the tastiest.
All right.
Whose swimmers will win the race? USC versus UCLA. Friday, April 25th. Live on spermracing.com.
Where are you going to be for that?
Oh, at the bar.
Okay, fine, watching. All right.
So Elaine says you need to research soy, the effect of soy on...
High soy intake might be associated with reduced sperm count, while other studies find no significant effect on sperm quality.
Apparently it's just in just about everything.
Just read that. Okay.
Yeah, good.
And then that's the term also, soy boy.
Right.
That's a term, a derogatory term normally used to describe sort of, slightly effeminate men or men that don't really seem to have a lot of macho characteristics. Mm-hmm. The tight jeans, the skinny little arms and stuff. Soy boys.
And that's why.
Yes.
So is there any truth to that you're aware of?
That people have said that there is some connection to it, that soy actually produces more estrogen, or at least changes your free testosterone, converting it to estrogen. You have two types of testosterone in your body. Never mind. Keep going.
Christy, the biker mom.
Oh, good.
Hey, John, speaking of sloppy seconds, she was talking about us repeating the laptop story.
Oh, good.
Why is it that the last hour, 6 to 7, is a repeat of what was on from 5 to 6? Everyone else works the complete 4 hours. Why not you?
Oh, really? Wrong! What show, Andrew, is on for 4 hours?
This show.
That's right.
Explain how this show is on for 4 hours.
Should I actually explain how this is on for 4 hours?
Well, let me explain what happened. When Tom and I were given an opportunity to do a radio show together, we both jumped at the chance because we really loved talking to one another and hanging out. So we're sitting in there, and they're working out the show, the name of the show. And Tom, I said, well, they're going to call it Curly. And then Tom goes, well, if he uses his last name, then I want my first name. If it's going to be Tom and Curly, then I want to be first. So it was Tom and Curly. And then people thought the name of the show was Tom Curley Show. And then they'd call me up, you suck, Tom. And I'm like, oh, they're talking to you, Tom, which worked out great for me.
Yeah.
So while they were working out the details of the thing, they said, so it's going to be on from 3 to 7. And Tom said, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing 4 hours. I was just sort of getting, wow, look at Tom stepping up to the plate. And I just sat there quietly, and he said, yeah, I don't want to do 4 hours. I don't want to do 4. Because I think he looked at Ron and Don, and he said that they repeated that show, that they repeated from the 1 hour, what they pulled the 3 to...
It's been a while now. I don't know if they do a direct pull, but they would re-air segments.
Re-air segments. So Tom said, look what Ron and Don do. If they do that, then we're going to do that. So we'll go 3 to 6, and then we'll repeat the 6 to 7 hour.
Right.
And that's what happened.
Which is, by the way, typically the 3 to 4 o'clock hour, so not the 5 to 6.
So who was that called us out for not having the...
Christy the Biker Mom.
Christy the Biker. Sorry, Christy the Biker Mom. Let me put this as gently as possible. Wrong! All right, there we go. Okay. Everybody all right on all that? And that's where that all came from. It was Tom stepping up and going, no way. I'm not doing 4 hours.
Attaboy, Tom.
There's Nate over there.
The rest of the story.
There's Nate, the Beacon Plumbing traffic. That's Nathan.
Thanks, John. Beacon Plumbing's got our update. Seattle to Everett and Bellevue to Everett are both taking you an hour and 15 minutes this afternoon due to an earlier crash up at the interchange in Linwood. That has recently cleared. Everett to Marysville is up to 25 minutes. Everett to Seattle is up to 50 minutes now. North 5 heading into Seattle, bumper to bumper from the Michigan Curve in the downtown. Our lake bridges remain wide open, looking good here. Bellevue to Renson's at 35 minutes. Seattle to Federal Way, 50 minutes. You're now slow from the Boeing Access Road all the way down to State Route 516. Renton to Puyallup on the Valley Freeway just hit the 1 hour mark. Tacoma to Olympia, 50 minutes. You got about a 4 to 5 mile thick backup through JBLM right now. And on the water, the Mukilteo Clinton ferries, both vessels are running 45 minutes behind schedule. For all of your heating, electrical, septic, and mechanical needs, stop freaking, call Beacon. KIRO Newsradio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
All right. If you're a guy, you take better care of your car than yourself. It's normally the case most of the time because you just simply go, I'm 50 years old or 55. You know, this stuff might start to happen, aches and pains, gaining weight. You're like, well, this is just what it's like getting old. Well, again, you've got that little sticker in the window up to the left side there. It tells you when you should change your oil, how many miles or how many months or days or years. And you do, dutifully, because you know if you don't take care of the car breaks down, you got a big problem, you got a big expense. But when it comes to your health, most guys are like, whatever, I just wait, go to the doctor if something starts to hurt. How about this? How about being proactive? Because what if you all of a sudden you found out your doctor diagnoses you with something like heart disease or diabetes or cancer? Wouldn't you be like, oh my God, what can I do? Well, what could you have done? If you work with the doctors at Longevity Medical Clinic, like I've been doing since 2009, they are proactive with you. After a blood draw, they look through everything. They see all the indicators. And they make small incremental changes to stop the big bad stuff from happening. It's just like being proactive with your health. Want to find out more? Take that free health analysis at longevitymedicalclinic.com.
Hey, it's Jason Rance. I'm here with our local tax expert and advocate, Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. When you're dealing with business owners and the idea that they owe money to the IRS and they feel like they might be letting their staff down and it just spirals out of control.
One thing I see with businesses, it's really tough because they have employees and maybe they're having a difficult time with the cash flow of the business. Then unfortunately, what a business often does is they quit making their payroll tax deposits, which is really about the worst thing you could be doing. I mean, it's a telltale sign if you're doing that, hey, get someone that can help you kind of look at your business and see if things can be changed so that you can operate your business better and make those payroll tax deposits. Because let me tell you this, the IRS is on those right away.
If you're having trouble with the IRS, you have to call Greg Nunn of None Better Tax Resolution. From stress to success with IRS Solutions. 425-947-1967 or Google NUNN. None Better Tax Resolution.
As we age, the home can become an unsafe place, but at Care Partners Senior Living, help is always nearby. Amanda here for Care Partners Senior Living. Our communities offer safe living spaces with medical professionals on site and ready to help. We assist you with your mobility when needed, so you can participate in activities whenever you like and socialize at your own pace. With locations throughout Washington and Arizona, you'll find a Care Partners community near you. Care, it's in our name and what we do. Learn more at carepartnersliving.com.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that. And third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
State officials say there's a $12 billion hole in the budget, and fixing it is an emergency. But just a few years ago, the state had a budget surplus just as large. And only a few months ago, state government added billions more in spending. Tax collections are at record high. Some state officials say tax revenues are below average. Not quite adding up. To see the numbers for yourself and learn more about the state budget, visit budgetbreakdown.org. That's budgetbreakdown.org.
For many of us, it's happening. Your hair is thinning, crown disappearing. Hair loss for me was like identity theft. The solution? The simple one-day treatment that worked for me from Advanced Hair. And I'm just one of tens of thousands. Advanced Hair was recently crowned the winner of the 425 Business of the Year again. Advanced Hair begins regrowing your own natural hair the very next day, and it's guaranteed to grow for life. We've all seen the pills and lotions, those monthly subscriptions. They help retain what you have, but if you're like me, you want more. You wanted your own natural hair in specific areas permanently. From Advanced Hair's groundbreaking technology to world-class Dr. Perungo, it's not maybe your hair will grow, it's guaranteed that your new hair will grow. For your free consultation, $250 off, 250 free hair grafts, call 425-449-8185. That's 425-449-8185 or advancedhair.com.
At Kia of Everett, we make the process of buying your new Kia as exciting as driving it home. The best drive you'll ever take is to Kia of Everett. Simple, easy, fun.
This Easter, we invite you to share your egg-siding creations with us. Hartley Wilcox here. Submit your beautifully decorated Easter egg photos to our Wilcox Family Farms Facebook page and join the community in celebrating this joyous holiday. For over a century, our farm-fresh eggs have been a part of your cherished traditions. From our family to yours, we wish you a happy and colorful Easter filled with love, joy, and delicious Wilcox eggs. Wilcox Family Farms, locally fresh since 1909.
Here we go with the John Curley Show. By the way, coming up at 4, Matt's going to come by. And then Phil Fortunato is going to come on because the senator there in Auburn apparently was trying to meet with the governor. He had all sorts of information regarding a number of people that are in this country illegally that are now held in our prisons and jails. And he has the list, and he wants something to be done about it. And he's also responding to the story of the woman that was kidnapped and then tortured and then left on the side of the road over on I-90 over in Kittitas County. So the senator will come by and talk to us about the latest when it comes to Washington and the sanctuary cities. Senator Phil Fortunato. And then does Matt have anything good as well? Didn't I always ask him for one good thing?
Yeah, hopefully it's not going to be the Kelp Day story again.
That's what he came in with before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. This is the how did this thing ever resolve? The KRUD, the April Fool's prank that cost the radio station. This is like right up your alley.
Tattoo laser removal surgery that I'm going to need to have.
Yes,
the
sir.
Procedures. I can't afford that. And from what I understand, the research that I've done, it may not even be possible to remove all of this without scarring.
Yes. How big's the tattoo?
It's very big.
On his forehead?
Yeah, it's about 5 inches by 1.5 inches.
You're asking this court to award you for a total award of $510,000. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor. They were running a...
So is he standing there in court with the giant KRUD tattoo on his forehead?
He is.
Contest where the first listener to tattoo the letters KRUD on their forehead would win a $250,000 prize. I called the radio station and I spoke with a gentleman who identified himself as one of Cyrus's crew.
Okay. First of all, that's your first mistake. You called the radio station and somebody, their last sort of position was crew. If you know you're talking to me, yeah, I'm part of the morning crew. Yeah, I wouldn't do anything the morning crew tells you to do, but that's his first mistake.
Okay.
And he did, in fact, confirm that this offer was legit.
That's how the call went. Hey, some guy on the phone wants to know whether are we tattooed? We are? Okay. How much? Wow, it's a lot of money. Yeah, we're doing that. Yeah, call back.
Dashed down to the radio station. They started pointing at me and laughing at me. Who does that, Your Honor? They took out their phones and started taking pictures of
that morning show. Bing bong.
All right. After I was standing there for about 10 minutes, a representative came down from the studio and explained to me that this was, quote unquote, a big misunderstanding.
There was a link on there that said official rules. See the link right there? If he would have clicked on that link.
Who's this person screaming and yelling?
She's a representative for the radio station.
Oh, okay.
The link would have took him to the page that
would have taken him to the page.
Said April Fool.
I could have never imagined in a million years somebody would have actually tattooed our station letters to their forehead.
$250,000 is a lot of money. There are a lot of folks that would do that, right?
Seriously.
And I find against the defendants, and in your favor, I'm going to award for a total award of $510,000.
That's right. Wow. You've done dumb stuff like that, right?
I hate pranks on the radio. The April Fool's Day was like the Super Bowl in morning radio, but also my least favorite day of the year. Okay. I learned that in jail.
All right, here's Nate over there in the Beacon Plumbing traffic. It's Nathan.
All right, John, this report brought to us by Beacon Plumbing. Seattle to Everett and Bellevue to Everett are both taking you an hour, 15 minutes today. It's a struggle. North 405, now heavy volume starting in mid-Bellevue all the way into Alderwood. North 5 is slow from Mercer to the Linwood interchange, and then you're really thick between Northgate and Mount Lake Terrace. Everett to Seattle is up to 55 minutes. We're back to 3 backups. It's been a while since we've seen these 3. South Everett, starting at the Boeing Freeway, a little more in Linwood, and then thick from Northgate to I-90. Everett to Bellevue is just a half hour. Once you hit Bellevue, South 405 is packed from 520 all the way to the Renton Landing, where we have a new collision just past Sunset Boulevard in your right lane. Bellevue to Renton right now is going to take you a half hour. For all of your heating, electrical, septic, and mechanical needs, stop freaking. Call Beacon. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, your home for G and Ursula, 9 to noon.
Our very own Sully, you guys know, the traffic guy. Do you go to the produce section? Do you do shopping for vegetables?
He said he went to the produce section.
I was sitting there in the woods.
How long does it take you to shop?
When I'm shopping, it takes me about 5 minutes.
And then Holly texts you and says, will you pick up a couple more things for me?
Yeah, all the time.
How long does it take you?
Probably 45 extra minutes. Because I don't know what those things are.
Streaming live on your smart speaker.
Well, I'm here with my good buddy, Dr. Dan Nelson from Eastside Pain and Regenerative Medicine. And you've heard from Dr. Dan's patients over the years how a simple stem cell procedure has successfully conquered their pain. Well, folks, now it's my turn. After years of dealing with knee pain from all the football abuse, I can say my knee pain now is almost 100% gone. How'd you do it, Dr. Dan?
Well, Brock, personally, I'm very happy that you did so well. And your story is like so many of our other patients who come in, former athletes and non-athletes as well, who have come in with chronic knee pain and and they are looking for alternatives besides knee replacement surgery. And we're happy to provide this service. It's been truly a game changer for so many folks. It's just been a pleasure to be part of this.
Consider Dr. Nelson, the only doctor with over 30 years of experience in pain medicine techniques, including stem cell therapy. I was in and out with a couple of follow-ups. It's a non-surgical solution to pain using your own stem cells. Consider stem cell therapy with Dr. Daniel Nelson, MD at 425-823-4000 or visit danielnelsonmd.com. That's danielnelsonmd.com.
Confidence is knowing you're ready to handle whatever comes your way. That's what it feels like to take on your workday with Cintas. They make sure your AEDs are up to date, your fire extinguishers are tested and inspected, your floor mats are cleaned and delivered, and your workwear looks good, feels good, and is freshly laundered with the Cintas Apparel Plus program. So are you ready to take on today? Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Go from daydreamer to industry leader with Amazon Business. From office supplies to IT essentials, Amazon Business provides tools that help you save costs and make insight-based decisions. Learn how to bring your visions to life at AmazonBusiness.com.
Get one free set of brake pads when you buy 2 brake rotors. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Offer in-store only. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
G and Ursula on KIRO News Radio.
You're not going to be able to stop what's going to happen.
I hope he's successful.
9 to noon, streaming live on your smart speaker.
This might be the most surprising statistic I've shared in decades of doing local news. More than 75% of commuters will be involved in a car accident at some point. JP Pendergast of Pendergast Law with more.
What makes it more surprising? The average person will be involved in 3 to 4 collisions in their lifetime.
With accidents unbelievably prevalent, what are some safety tips if it happens to you?
Safety first. Secondary collisions are not uncommon while awaiting help. Turn on those hazards and remain in a safe place. If a bystander witnessed the accident, capture their information and encourage them to remain at the scene. Seek medical attention immediately if needed, as delaying can be a costly mistake. Lastly, remember that statements made to police and insurance adjusters can affect your case.
Collisions are more common than we'd like to think. If you find yourself in one, follow these helpful tips and then call my friends at Pendergast Law.
If you or a loved one's injured in a car accident, call Pendergast Law. We can help.
PendergastLaw.com.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
If you've got a gas-powered engine, keep it running like new at every fill-up. Stable in-season protection is your engine's preventative medicine, cleaning and protecting the entire fuel system in season. In outdoor power equipment, prevent gum and varnish buildup that could cause a rough or non-running engine. For cars and trucks, increase fuel efficiency and power by removing deposits, ensuring your engine's long-term health. Stable outperforms the competition in independent lab testing. So at every fill-up, start with Stable.
Stay informed and entertained with Jake Skorheim and Spike O'Neill.
We're all friends and we hang out and we get to chit chat and have fun. And the most important member of that friendship group is the audience.
We want to build something that you want to be a part of.
Jake and Spike, weekdays noon to 3 on KIRO News Radio.
Steel, walk behind, zero turn, and stand-on mowers are built to get the job done. Shop online or at your local Steel dealer. Steel, let's go mow.
Your best source for local news. KIRO News Radio. KIRO FM and HD1. Tacoma, Seattle. Northwest News.
Deadly Florida State University campus shooting.
I remember hearing 5 more shots go off.
An appeals court on Trump administration's claims on mistaken deportation.
Calls the defiance shocking.
President Trump suggests he can remove Fed Chair Jerome Powell.
I'm not happy with him.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Jennifer Kuiper. Shots are fired on the Florida State University campus in Tallahassee earlier today.
We got the desks and started piling them up against the door. It was pretty hectic.
2 people are dead, 6 injured, and the suspect is in the hospital after being shot by officers when police say he refused to comply with orders. The suspect is 20 years old, believed to be an FSU student, and is the son of a sheriff's deputy. Sheriff Walter McNeil adding,
"Unfortunately, her son had access to one of her weapons, and that was one of the weapons that was found at the scene."
No word on a motive. CBS's Scott McFarlane adds,
"There are a number of students on that campus today who were students at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas in 2018, who were freshmen at that campus and have now gone through 2 of these things."
Federal prosecutors had announced charges against Luigi Mangione over his alleged assassination of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, but he has just been formally indicted. It comes after the government reveals it would seek the death penalty. Mangione is charged with 4 counts related to the fatal shooting of Thompson in New York City last year. The war of words is heating up as the Trump administration continues to defy judges' orders regarding deportations. CBS's Stacey Lynn reports.
In a scathing ruling today, an appeals court calls the defiance shocking. Yesterday, a federal judge ruled there is probable cause to find the administration in criminal contempt after the president refused to turn around deportation planes to El Salvador and says he'll continue to do so.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell's comments yesterday, in which he warned that the Trump administration's ongoing trade war is highly likely to increase inflation and slow economic growth, have President Trump fired up.
I'm not happy with him. I let him know it, and if I want him out, he'll be out of there real fast, believe me.
The president does not have the authority to fire Powell or any commissioner at an independent regulatory agency. The Supreme Court will hear oral arguments over President Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship in May. Loyola Law School professor Lori Levinson.
So far, every court that has decided this issue has relied on the 14th Amendment to say that the executive order by President Trump saying that there's no birthright citizenship is wrong.
The Dow falls over 500 points, fueled by a United Healthcare tumble. Now this.
A riddle brought to you by Progressive Insurance. What do your home and auto have in common? Progressive protects them both. It was an easy riddle. Learn more at Progressive.com.
Coming up, victims of a former Sumner basketball coach speak out at his sentencing. That's after Nate Connors at the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Desk.
Hey, thanks, Aaron. Lake Washington Windows and Doors has our update. It's getting busy out there. Seattle to Everett and Bellevue to Everett are both going to take an hour 15. North 405 heavy from mid-Bellevue all the way to Alderwood. North 5 is heavy from Mercer all the way to that Linwood interchange. Everett to Seattle pushing an hour with 3 backups. South Everett, Linwood, and then thick from Northgate to I-90. Over in Bellevue, southbound 405 is packed from 520 all the way to the Renton Landing, where we've got a collision. Is just past Sunset Boulevard in your right lane. Looks like a tow is on scene, so this should clear momentarily. Meanwhile, Bellevue to Renton has jumped to a 50-minute commute. North 5 is thick at the north end of Boeing Field in the downtown. In Tukwila, South 5, just before Interurban Avenue, you've got a crash blocking the HOV and left general purpose lanes. And now through JBLM, North 5 at Gravely Lake, a crash blocks your left lane. A little further north in Lakewood, just past State Route 512, got a separate crash also in the left lane. Through April, Lake Washington Windows is paying your sales tax, plus giving you 18 months to pay for them. For details, visit lakewashingtonwindows.com. KIRO News Radio, real-time traffic. I'm Nate Connors.
KIRO News Radio, 97.3 FM, Northwest News. Now, the latest from KIRO News Radio and mynorthwest.com.
Good afternoon. I'm Aaron Granillo. A former Sumner High School basketball coach is sentenced to 40 years in prison. Jacob Jackson was found guilty of sexually abusing 8 players between 2016 and 2022. KIRO 7 TV was in court today when one of Jackson's victims spoke before sentencing.
Trust has become a concept that is not within my reach, altering the way I see the world and even the way I see myself.
More from KIRO News Radio's Luke Ducey.
4 decades behind bars for the one-time high school basketball coach turned convicted sex offender who preyed on 8 of his former players, the youngest just 14 years old. Prosecutors say he used his role to lure players to perform sexual acts and talk them into sending him inappropriate photos and messages. Luke Ducey, KIRO News Radio.
Governor Bob Ferguson says a series of new tax proposals by Democrats is unsustainable and too risky. His words. He says the measures do not prepare the